Hello friends, tonight we are not going to a palace or a battlefield or a bustling city square. Our journey is to a much quieter place, a place of profound and patient silence. We are stepping into a medieval monastery to sit with the remarkably patient monks who undertook a task of almost unimaginable scope: to draw the entire world by hand. This is a story about focus, about devotion, and about the slow, meditative craft of creating a universe on a single sheet of vellum. The pace of this story is, by necessity, incredibly slow. In fact, you might not survive this without falling peacefully asleep. So before you get too comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. It's a quiet way to help these stories find a home with others who might need them. And, as is our tradition, I invite you to leave a comment, letting me know the time and the place where you've chosen to listen from tonight. It is always a great comfort to know we are all sharing this quiet moment together. Now turn down the lights, maybe put on a fan for some gentle background noise, and let's begin our journey for tonight. Your world is stone and silence. You are a novice in a Benedictine monastery, tucked away in a green, river-fed valley somewhere in the north of England. The year is not important. Time here is measured not in years, but in the slow turning of the seasons and the sacred rhythm of the 8 daily prayers. Your day is a circle of chanting, labor, and contemplation. And today, for the first time, you have been granted entry to the heart of the monastery's intellectual and spiritual life, the Scriptorium. You push open the heavy oak door, and the first thing that strikes you is not what you see, but what you hear. It is a silence so deep and so ancient that it feels like a physical presence. It is a silence made of stone walls 2 feet thick, of high arched windows, and of the focused collective will of 20 other men. The only sounds are the rustle of a woolen robe, the faint scratching of a quill on parchment, and the soft rhythmic breathing of your brothers. The air is cool and smells of beeswax, old wood, and something else. A faint, almost metallic tang you don't yet recognize. The room is long and narrow, with a series of tall wooden desks, or carrels, arranged along the walls beneath the high windows. The light that falls into the room is pale and northern, a soft, clear light perfect for detailed work. It illuminates the dust motes dancing in the air like tiny golden spirits. At each desk, a monk is bent over his work, his posture a study in absolute concentration. They are not just copying words, they are praying with their hands. Some scholars still debate the primary function of the medieval Scriptorium. Was it merely a production center for books in a world before printing? Or was the act of copying itself a form of devotional practice, a way of absorbing sacred texts through the slow, painstaking labor of the body? As you look at the serene focus on the faces of the monks, you feel the answer is the latter. This is a workshop for the soul. An elderly monk, Brother Anselm, the head scribe, beckons you over, not with a word, but with a slight inclination of his head. His face is a map of wrinkles, and his hands, though spotted with age, are steady and sure. He leads you to an empty desk at the far end of the room. Your task today, he communicates through simple gestures, is not to write. It is not even to draw. Your task is to prepare the canvas. You are to learn how to make the smooth, pale ground upon which the world will eventually be born. He places a large, stiff and semi-translucent sheet before you. It is vellum, the finest writing surface known. This is a core truth of your world. Books are not made of paper, but of the painstakingly prepared skins of animals, usually calves or sheep. The sheet before you was once a living creature. It has been washed in lime, scraped, stretched on a wooden frame, and dried under tension until it has become this thin, strong, and durable surface. But it is not yet perfect. It is not yet worthy. Brother Anselm hands you your first tool. It is a lunellum, a small, crescent-shaped knife with a smooth, rounded blade. He shows you how to hold it, your fingers wrapped around the wooden handle, your thumb guiding the edge. Your job is to scrape the surface of the vellum, removing the last almost invisible traces of hair and fat. You begin. The work is slow and requires a steady, even pressure. Too light, and you will accomplish nothing. Too hard, and you will tear a hole in the precious material, wasting weeks of another brother's work. You fall into the rhythm of it. Scrape, Scrape, scrape. A fine pale dust, like flour, rises from the vellum. The sound is soft, hypnotic. Your entire universe shrinks to this single repetitive task. Your shoulders begin to ache, but you learn to use the weight of your body, not just the strength of your arms. After what feels like an eternity, Brother Anselm returns and runs his palm over the surface. He nods, a rare and precious sign of approval. Next, he shows you how to prepare a fine powder of chalk and rub it into the vellum with a soft piece of leather. This process, called pouncing, abrades the surface on a microscopic level, giving it a soft, velvety texture, a tooth that will grip the ink and prevent it from bleeding. You work the chalk into the skin, back and forth, until it is as smooth and pale as a moonbeam. Your final task for the day is to learn the secret of the ink. Brother Anselm leads you to a heavy stone table where another monk is working. This is where you identify that strange, metallic smell. You will not be making a simple ink of soot and water. You are making iron gall ink, the permanent purplish-black ink that will be used to draw the unchangeable coastlines of the world. The recipe is a form of alchemy, and its primary ingredient is a surprise. The monk is grinding up what look like small, woody, ball-shaped growths. These, you learn, are oak galls growths formed on oak trees when a wasp lays its eggs in the bark. They are rich in tannic acid. You take your turn grinding them in a stone mortar, reducing them to a fine brown powder. To this powder, you add the second ingredient, vitriol or iron sulfate, which looks like pale green crystals. Finally, you add the binder, the liquid that will hold it all together. It is not water, it is gum arabic, a hardened sap from the acacia tree dissolved in stale wine. The combination of the acid from the oak galls and the iron from the vitriol creates a chemical reaction. As you stir the gritty mixture, it slowly, magically transforms. The pale, watery brown begins to darken, turning a deep, rich and permanent black right before your eyes. You have not drawn a single line. You have not mapped a single coast. But as you stand in the quiet, fading light of the Scriptorium, you have accomplished the first essential step. You have prepared a perfect, silent ground. You have brewed a permanent darkness. You have made the world ready to be written. The next morning, you return to the Scriptorium. The pale light is the same, the profound silence is the same, but your task is different. The perfectly prepared sheet of vellum you worked on yesterday now lies fixed to a sloped wooden desk. Beside it, Brother Anselm has placed a small polished horn, filled with the dark iron gall ink you helped to make, and a single goose feather quill, its tip sharpened to a needle-fine point. Today you will make your first mark. Today you will begin to give shape to the world. He unrolls an older map beside your workstation. It is a venerable document, its vellum yellowed with age, its colors faded but still beautiful. This is your master, your guide. In the Scriptorium, originality is not a virtue, fidelity is. Your job is not to invent or to correct, but to transmit the wisdom of the past as faithfully as possible. This older map is considered an authority, and any deviation, even to correct what might seem like an obvious error, would be an act of arrogance. You look at this master map and see that it is not like the charts that sailors use, with precise angles and distances. This is a mappa mundi, a map of the world, but it is also a diagram of faith, a visual encyclopedia of all of creation. Cartographic historians refer to this common medieval style as a T&O map. It is a beautifully simple and symbolic representation of the world as it is known and understood. The O is the great encircling ocean, the boundary of the known world. And inside this circle, the world's land masses are divided by a T shape formed by the great waterways, the Mediterranean Sea forming the stem of the T, and the Don and Nile rivers forming its crossbar. Your first task is the most fundamental. You take a compass, not a magnetic one, but a simple drawing instrument of two hinged metal legs, and you draw a perfect, massive circle on your vellum. This is the Oceanus, the great river that surrounds all lands. The motion is slow, steady, satisfying. Inside this great O, you draw the T, dividing your world into its three known continents. Asia, vast and occupying the top half of the circle, Europe in the bottom left, and Africa in the bottom right. This is the divine and orderly framework of the world handed down from the scholars of antiquity, and at the precise intersection of the T, the very center of this circle of creation, you make a small, careful mark. This is the most important place in the universe. This is Jerusalem, the navel of the world. From this sacred center, everything else will find its proper place. Now, with the framework established, the true painstaking work begins. You dip your quill into the inkhorn for the first time. You must learn the correct way to hold it, not gripped tightly like a tool, but resting lightly in your fingers, almost an extension of your own thought. You touch the nib to the vellum. The dark ink flows, a tiny, perfect black line appearing on the pale, creamy surface. It feels like a moment of profound significance. You begin to draw the familiar shores of the Mediterranean, your eyes flicking back and forth between the old map and your own, replicating every curve, every bay, every inlet with meticulous care. This is a form of geography that has little to do with exploration and everything to do with memory and tradition. You draw the boot of Italy, the peninsulas of Greece, the northern coast of Africa. The names of the places are not yet written. Your sole focus is the sacred geometry of the coastlines. The work is incredibly slow. Each line is a meditation. After every few inches, you must lift the quill, wipe the tip clean on a small piece of linen to prevent blotting, and re-dip it in the ink. You learn the rhythm of it. Draw, lift, wipe, dip. Draw, lift, wipe, dip. Your body finds the pace naturally. Your breathing slows. The world outside the high Scriptorium window ceases to exist. There is only the line, growing slowly under your hand. You notice something curious as you work. The master map you are copying has some inaccuracies you know to be untrue from the stories of traveling pilgrims. A certain bay is drawn too wide. A river mouth is placed slightly too far to the east. Your first instinct is to correct it, to improve upon the work of the past. But Brother Anselm, sensing your hesitation, places a gentle hand on your shoulder. He shakes his head, a silent reminder. The goal is not accuracy in a navigational sense, but the preservation of this specific image of the world. Some modern historians theorize that this was not ignorance, but a different kind of knowledge, one that valued the authority of ancient sources over contemporary observation. To copy the error was to show respect for the original artist. So, with a sense of humility, you copy the error. You faithfully reproduce the coastline as it is shown, not as you believe it to be. It is a lesson in letting go of your own ego. Your hand travels north, drawing the coasts of France, the islands of Britain and Ireland, the jagged shores of Scandinavia. You are a creator god in miniature, your quill a divine finger tracing the edges of the continents. You begin to understand that this is not a task of measurement, but of feeling. You are not just drawing a line, you are learning the shape of the world through the slow, careful movement of your own hand. Each peninsula feels different, each bay has its own personality. You are building a tactile memory of the entire known world. The hours pass. The pale light from the window creeps slowly across the stone floor. Your brothers in the Scriptorium work on, their silent focus a comforting presence. The only sound is the collective, faint scratching of their quills, a sound like autumn leaves skittering across a stone courtyard. Your back aches, your fingers are stained with ink, but you feel a profound sense of peace. You have found your place in the great, quiet rhythm of the monastery. By the time the bell rings for Vespers, the evening prayer, you have completed your task for the day. You lean back and look at your work. The known world now exists on your vellum. Europe, the northern coast of Africa, and the edges of Asia Minor are all there, their coastlines drawn in the crisp, permanent black of your iron gall ink. It is a world surrounded by a perfect circle of ocean, with Jerusalem at its sacred heart. You have built the house. Tomorrow you will begin to fill it with wonders. Your quill rests at the edge of the known, poised to venture into the lands of myth and mystery. Your work on the known world is complete. The coastlines of Europe and North Africa, drawn in crisp, dark ink, form a familiar and reassuring shape on the lower half of your great circle. But now, your quill rests on a new frontier. You are ready to venture into the vast, mysterious landmass that fills the top of your map, the continent of Asia. This is a land known to you not through the common experience of sailors and merchants, but through the fragmented, fantastical tales of ancient geographers and the sacred stories of your faith. Here, at the edges of the known, the rules of geography begin to bend, and the world of wonders begins. Your journey into this unknown land starts at its highest point, the very top of the circular map, which represents the farthest east. In your worldview, east is the direction of the rising sun, the direction of new beginnings, and the location of paradise itself. Here, with a reverent hand, you begin to draw the Garden of Eden. It is not depicted as a vague, ethereal place, but as a real location on the earth. You draw it as a perfect circle, enclosed by a high, impenetrable wall of flame, a divine fortress at the edge of the world. Inside the wall, you draw the figures of Adam and Eve, their forms simple and innocent. Beside them, the tree of knowledge, with the serpent coiled around its trunk. And from the base of this sacred garden, you draw the source of 4 great rivers: the Tigris, the Euphrates, the Pishon, and the Gihon, their waters flowing down to nourish the rest of the world. From this divine source, you follow the rivers down into the vast, uncharted territories of the East. You draw the land of India, a place you know only from the histories of Alexander the Great and the letters of mythical kings. And it is here, in these lands of rumor and legend, that you begin to populate the map with the strange and marvelous inhabitants known as the monstrous races. Many medievalists now believe that these figures, often copied from ancient sources like the writings of Pliny the Elder, were not necessarily seen as literal biological truths by the educated monks who drew them. Instead, they were often understood as allegorical representations of the unknown, symbols for the diverse and often bewildering varieties of humanity that existed beyond the borders of Christendom, or even as moral lessons about strange behaviors. Following the guide of your master map, you dip your quill and draw your first wonder. In a hot, dry land that you label Ethiopia, you draw a sciopod. He is a man lying on his back, but he possesses only a single enormous foot. The strangeness of the image is matched by its charming logic. In the heat of the day, you draw him holding his giant foot above his body like a parasol, shading himself from the sun. The task requires a delicate touch, capturing both the bizarre anatomy and the serene, practical nature of the pose. Further east, in a land of imagined islands, you draw the Blemmyes. These are perhaps the most unsettling of all the races, a tribe of men with no heads, their faces, eyes, nose, and a wide mouth located in the center of their chests. As you draw their powerful, headless shoulders and the surprised expressions on their torsos, you feel a sense of the world's infinite and strange possibilities. You are drawing the limits of God's creation, a visual catalogue of all the forms that life could possibly take. Next come the cynocephali of India, a race of men with the heads of dogs, who you draw clad in animal skins and carrying simple bows. Your work is not just anthropological, it is also zoological. The empty spaces on the map are not just voids, they are opportunities to illustrate the beasts that were said to roam the wild places of the world. In the high, cold mountains of Scythia, you draw a pair of griffins. With the powerful hindquarters of a lion and the head, wings, and sharp talons of a great eagle, they are the very image of noble ferocity. You draw them guarding a mound of golden stones, for it was said that their nests were lined with gold and emeralds. In a quiet, verdant forest in India, you draw a unicorn, its form as elegant as a white horse, a single pearlescent horn spiraling from its forehead. You depict it gently resting its head in the lap of a maiden, the only way, according to legend, that this pure and fierce creature could be tamed. The oceans, too, must be filled. The great encircling river of Oceanus cannot be left as an empty void. You turn your quill to the waves. Near the treacherous rocks that you label as the Pillars of Hercules, you draw a pair of sirens. From the waist up, they are beautiful women, combing their long flowing hair. But below the water, their bodies are those of great birds or fish, a beautiful warning of the deadly temptations that can lead sailors to their doom. Further out, in the vast open sea, You draw a great sea serpent, its green scaled coils rising in immense loops from the water, its head breathing a plume of decorative fire. You work for hours, lost in this act of creative cartography. You are no longer just a copyist. You are a storyteller, a theologian, a zoologist. You fill the plains of Africa with stylized lions and elephants, their forms more symbolic than realistic. You place the great man-eating manticore in a Persian desert, carefully drawing its lion's body, its human-like face full of sharp teeth, and its venomous scorpion's tail. Your map is no longer a simple diagram of coastlines. It is a teeming, vibrant tapestry of life in all its known and unknown forms. It is a visual sermon, a storybook, a bestiary, and a map all in one. As the light begins to fade, you lean back and survey your creation. The vellum is alive. From Eden at the top to the sea serpents at the bottom, the world is now populated. The black ink has given form to every legend, every rumor, every article of faith. The structure is complete. The story has been written in stark and beautiful lines. Tomorrow you will give it a soul. Tomorrow you will bring it to life with color and with light. You return to the Scriptorium with the dawn. The great map lies on your desk, a world rendered in stark, beautiful black ink. It is a skeleton, a perfect and intricate structure, but it is without life. Today is the day you will give it breath and spirit. Today is the day of illumination. Your task is to transform this drawing from a work of geography into a window onto the divine. And you will do it with color and with light. Brother Anselm leads you not to the ink-making table, but to a quieter corner of the Scriptorium, where another monk, Brother Thomas, performs his slow and silent alchemy. He is the keeper of the colors. Before you lie a series of heavy stone mortars and slabs of polished porphyry. On these, he grinds the raw materials of beauty. He shows you a pile of rough, deep blue stones shot through with veins of gold-like pyrite. This, he communicates, is lapis lazuli, a precious stone brought by traders all the way from the distant mountains of the east, what will one day be called Afghanistan. For hours he grinds this stone, his movements patient and rhythmic, until it becomes a powder of the most vibrant, intense blue imaginable. Ultramarine, the color of the Virgin's robes, the color of heaven. He shows you other minerals. Green malachite crushed for the color of the fields, toxic cinnabar for a brilliant vermilion red, and simple chalk for a perfect white. Each color is a piece of the earth, a treasure to be unlocked through patient labor. But the most sacred material is not a pigment, it is light itself. Today you will learn the art of gilding. Brother Thomas brings you a small pot containing a thick white paste. This is gesso, a mixture of chalk and a sticky glue made from animal hides. He shows you how to paint this gesso onto the specific parts of the map that are to receive the gold. The circular wall of flame around Eden, the tiny circle representing the holy city of Jerusalem, and the halos of the saints who are sometimes drawn on the margins. You apply it carefully, building up a slightly raised surface that will give the gold a three-dimensional depth. After the gesso is dry, the true secret of the gilder's art is revealed. He brings you another, smaller pot. This one is filled with a fine reddish-brown clay, mixed with a binder of fish glue that gives the Scriptorium its faint, sharp smell. This is Armenian bowl. Art historians today understand that this smooth, slightly greasy clay underlayer is the key to creating a brilliant mirror-like shine on the gold leaf. The bowl is polished to a perfect smoothness. Now comes the most delicate part of the entire process. Brother Thomas opens a small vellum booklet. Inside, resting between the pages, are sheets of pure gold that have been beaten to a thickness of less than 1/1000th of a millimeter. They are so thin that they are translucent, so light that a single breath could send them fluttering away into a crumpled ruin. He shows you the technique. You take a deep, steadying breath, then slowly exhale onto the reddish-brown bowl. The moisture from your breath, your giotto, makes the surface tacky for just a few seconds. In that moment, using a special brush called a gilder's tip, you must lift a single sheet of gold leaf and lay it perfectly onto the prepared area. The gold clings instantly. The process is one of profound, breathless concentration. You lay the gold over Jerusalem and over the fiery walls of paradise. At first it looks dull, a soft brownish yellow, wrinkled over the raised gesso. The magic is not yet complete. Now you are handed the final tool, the burnisher. It is a smooth, polished piece of agate, a wolf's tooth, or hematite, set into a wooden handle. With a steady, gentle pressure, you begin to rub the surface of the dull gold. And as you do, a miracle occurs before your eyes. The dull, wrinkled surface transforms. It becomes a solid, brilliant, mirror-smooth surface of pure, radiant light. The tiny imperfections are smoothed away, and the gold begins to shine with a light that seems to come from within. It is no longer a color. It is a piece of trapped sunlight, a fragment of heaven itself, placed at the heart of your creation. With the sacred places now literally illuminated, you turn to the pigments. With a fine-tipped brush made of squirrel hair, you begin to paint. You fill the great encircling ocean with a deep, rich ultramarine blue, the waves painstakingly detailed with fine white lines. You wash the land masses in soft greens and earthy ochres, leaving the high mountains a stark, untouched white. The strange creatures you drew now come to life. The griffins are given coats of tawny brown and wings of brilliant white. The unicorn is left the pure color of the vellum, its horn a swirl of silver. The blemmies are given their ruddy, flesh-toned chests, and the sea serpents are painted in shimmering reptilian greens. Your work is no longer a solitary act of drawing lines. You are part of a team, a quiet collaboration between the one who prepares the vellum, the one who makes the ink, the one who grinds the colors, the one who draws the lines, and the one who applies the light. Together, in this silent, focused room, you have completed your great work. You lean back, your long task finished. The map is no longer a sheet of vellum, it is a glowing sacred object. The gold of Jerusalem catches the pale light from the window, and the whole world seems to revolve around that single brilliant point. You have not just drawn the world, you have created a tool for prayer, a diagram for contemplation, a testament to the patient, glorious, and illuminated order of God's creation. The map is finished. The vellum glows with an inner light, the patient work of many hands now complete. The Scriptorium is quiet, its purpose for this great task fulfilled. Your own journey is complete. It is time to let the images of this slow and meditative craft begin to soften and fade in your mind. The sound of the crescent knife scraping the vellum, the rich, dark smell of the iron gall ink, the rhythmic grinding of bluestone into brilliant dust, the breathless moment of laying the gold leaf, the final glorious shimmer of the burnished surface. These are just echoes now, gentle memories dissolving into the peaceful darkness of your room. The story is told, the world has been drawn, the colors have been laid, the light has been captured. All that is left is the profound sense of peace that comes after a long and focused task is done. Let the quiet of the finished map settle over you. It is time to let the work of your own day fade away. Your only task now is to rest, to feel your body grow heavy and comfortable, to let your breathing find its own slow, easy rhythm, like a monk's chant in a quiet chapel. There is nothing left to do, only to be still. Sleep well. Good night.